All right, how's everyone doing? I am Rich CELENZA. Thanks for checking out the Rich CELENZA show. So, what I'm going to get into today, I'm going to call Take Care of Your Skin. And I did a podcast a long time ago. I think it was either number 50 or 51. I saw it previously, and it was called Take Care of Your Body. But I was at the gym today, and I'm kind of obsessed with taking care of my skin. It actually started in my youth with one of my cousins who was a model, a very beautiful young lady. At that time, she's older now, but she's still very beautiful. And she used to really get on me regarding hygiene and taking care of my skin. So did my mother. My mother was always out to protect my skin because we were around a lot of dark-skinned Italians, including even my mother's mother. But a lot of them were dark, with the exception of her. I'm not nearly as light-skinned as her, but I'm not as dark as my father. Let's put it that way. But I can get a tan. But from a young age, my mother was putting a lot of sunscreen, especially when we went to places like California and Florida and the summers in Chicago. But my cousin, again, used to really get on me about creams and things, even back when I was like in my, not even teens. She would make me put baby oil on, not in the sun, just taking care of my skin, or creams. I can't even remember. Back then, there were like all these different type. Johnson & Johnson was one of them, and Jergens, I think, and things in that nature, but always putting cream on my body. And then even me coming to Florida a lot, and even throughout my teens, throughout high school, I used to just put a lot of creams on my face to protect my skin. Not obsessed with it. I would get really tan, but to make a long story short, back in the 80s, a lot of people would actually put baby oil and other things to get really tan. I don't think people were as educated about skin cancer or as knowledgeable because we kind of just did a lot of crazy shit back then. Now it's a whole different level of protecting your skin and things in that nature, which I kind of already was doing. Now that I'm in my 50s, I'm getting a lot of sunspots on my forehead, my nose, and that's just the way I think it's going to be because I've been in Florida since, for the most part, 18. I also was in California for 6, 7, 8 years. I don't even know I traveled so much. But I've been in the sun the majority of my life, let's put it that way. But I've always put a lot of sunscreen. And with my daughters, when we were younger, or we were all younger, we spent a lot of time outside. And I was always blanketing them with the highest level of sun protector I could find and the most reliable all the time. You know what I mean? And I heard these crazy stats years ago where it was like a child that was born and raised in, say, Arizona or Florida or something like that. By the time they were like 20 years old, they had as much sun as, say, somebody who lived in the Midwest or East Coast that was in their 60s because their whole life is in the sun, including if they go to school, they're doing things outside, even playing sports. It's year-round, right? And even when it's not that sunny in Florida or California, Arizona, those places, it's still a lot. You know, you're still getting a lot of those rays. But what I want to talk about with this, really, in this, this podcast is I think a lot of women really pay attention to their skin, but a lot of dudes don't. I see it in the locker rooms, and that's where it kind of hit me today because I work out at an LA Fitness. And they have creams there. You can put body cream on, and I already have my own cream as well. But very seldom does anybody use it. And that's free. I see a lot of guys, obviously, just putting deodorant on, right? Getting dressed, not even putting a lot of creams on their faces to protect their face. Sun protector again. And, I did a video once on hygiene, and I don't know if a lot of guys know this, but there's another Jergens. It's kind of funny I mentioned that twice. They have a Jergens. It helps your face, like a tanning cream, strictly for your face. It's not the body one. And that has built-in sun protector. It wouldn't be as strong as, say, something more reliable. But it's not bad. It's better than nothing. Plus, it tans your face. So I just thought I'd throw this in there. But back to a lot of men not taking care of their skin. If I didn't take care of my skin, especially being bald, I couldn't even imagine what my face looks like. But I do know a lot of people who are bald, like myself, who've been bald for like decades now, a couple of them for that matter. And, I have some sunspots, sometimes they don't. But it's also, I can tell in their face, especially around their eyes, the lines and the wrinkles also in the forehead and just the redness, especially people who were born and raised that I've known in Florida a long time, the redness on their necks, their noses. I even had a close friend of mine who lived in Chicago a majority of his life and then moved to Florida. And after a few years, he's very fair-skinned. He ended up having cancer in his nose and his neck, and it was kind of shocking. And my other buddy, who's Greek and Italian, never put any type of sunscreen on. And then I had dinner with him, I don't know, 4 or 5 years ago, and he was wearing a hat. And I'd never seen him wear a hat. And I said, what's going on? He went bald like a bald spot on top of his head, never put any sunscreen ever, and had, he said, skin cancer on top of his head. And this is, just so I'm clear, I don't care if you live in Florida. I don't care if you live in New York, Chicago, Canada, whatever the case may be. Start taking care of your skin. I'm going to tell you, it is one of the most important things you could do for yourself. In my confidence program, Mastering Self-Confidence, I touch upon hygiene a lot and how a lot of guys just neglect it. And you're going to pay a price one way or another. Now, if you don't care, you don't care. I get it. A lot of dudes just wake up, could care less, shower, dry their hair, or if they're bald, dry up, put deodorant on, maybe put some clothes on, cologne, out the door. Don't really pay attention, but you got to not only look at your face, look at your body overall. Now, again, if you don't care, you don't care. But I do think as men age, all of a sudden that impact hits them at a certain age. You're like, holy shit, I look like a crocodile in my skin. And then it's kind of too gone. It's too far out there. How are you going to improve your skin? Maybe a little, but you've just kind of neglected it for a long period of time. And I'll just say one more quick thing. It's kind of like your body too, with your skin gaining and losing weight. And I've been there. When you gain a lot of weight or lose a lot of weight, your skin kind of stretching it out again. And your skin really, you don't understand the toll you're kind of taking on it all the time. Even getting scratched up and all these things throughout your life, you're just really beating your skin up. And it's the largest organ in your body. I just said on your body. Isn't that right? I'm pretty sure I'm right. If I'm not, what are you going to do? But really pay attention to the skin. And not just, again, the face, the front, but the back of your skin. Here's a trick that I did as well that I think really helped me stay at least a little youthful. Or at least my skin, I should say. Well, first I will say what I think hurt it, and then I'll go into what helped it. Years ago in the early 80s, my cousin, again, who was always on me regarding hygiene, teeth, nails, skin, tanning spas came out. Really late, maybe right in early 1980s, and I lived in an Italian neighborhood, and we had a joint that had, tanning spa that had the tanning beds. And I mean, you're talking, they had no protection. Basically, you just went in there and got burned. No one at that point in time was even talking about damaging your skin. But being in an Italian neighborhood, a lot of Italians wanted to stay tan year round, so we'd all go in there. And plus, I was kind of going back and forth to Florida with my father, so I would try to kind of keep up with the tan. So if I went to Florida, I didn't get really burned, and whatever I was thinking, or I'd come back from Florida, want to keep the tan, whatever. And then I remember she was the first one to tell me about that. And what was kind of cool is it really cleans your skin. I mean, it dried the shit out of you. So no pimples, no nothing, and then you're tan. And then she was the first one to tell me, get the hell out of there. That's damaging your skin. So something like that, I would really, stay away from, with your skin is tanning beds. My father actually has one built in his closet. That's how extreme he was. And he lives in Florida. So, and he was super tan anyways. He would, even if he went out real quick, he'd lay in his tanning bed. He's hilarious. But put that aside. What was I going to talk about before I forget it? Oh, what helped me with my skin over the years is I never liked having hair on my body, really for the most part anywhere. And from a young guy, maybe junior high, I started to shave my entire body. My mother thought I was out of my mind. And I started to get a lot of hair, even in like high school. Like I had a hairy chest, and back in the 80s again, and people thought that was sexy and shit. I'm like, get out of here with that Burt Reynolds shit. And all that stuff. Magnum PI with the hairy chest guys, all them. I was not down with it. I don't like the smell, the look. I kind of liked more of a bodybuilding, Franco Columbu, Arnold Schwarzenegger type, clean look. So I was doing that, and it was almost like exfoliating, and I still do it to this day. I used to go for, honestly, I shave from the neck all the way down to my toes. But shaving my skin at least a couple times a week, not always my legs. I shave that with a razor sometimes, but sometimes I would shave my legs. But actually, I shaved them for many, many years. But I shaved my armpits, the front of me, and then my girlfriend Rhea shaved my back, and I shaved my head. And one thing I believe it helped me with was, one is I never get sick. I don't know if that's part of it, but I want to incorporate that in there because I think always cleaning my skin really helps. But again, just like anything else, like if you shave your face continuous, you're really getting a lot of those dead cells, skin cells and all that. And for the most part, I think cleaning it up a lot Now I very seldom shave my face, but for many, many years, up until I was probably about early 40s, I never not had a clean shaved face for the most part, unless I just lost track for a few days. But I grew up in an environment with a lot of Italian men, and it was very disrespectful not to clean your face, especially to go out to dinner or restaurants or to work. So it was kind of programmed. And then for the last 10 years now, I usually have a 5 o'clock shadow. But again, I still shave my entire body, including my arms again and everything. And I really think doing that all the time kept my skin very clean. And not only would I shave it, I always get out of the shower and I put cream on my body. And sometimes I'll take up to 3 showers a day. If I take one in the morning, then after the gym, and then sometimes at night, I always again put the cream on my body to make sure it's always, I'm trying to take care of it. And I think being consistent with that has not only helped, I should say, keeping it moisturized and all that stuff, but also when I used to be a lot heavier, but I always put cream on my body. It seemed for me to help me with my stretch marks. A lot of my other buddies that got very big, a lot of my friends that are bodybuilders, power lifters, and all these different type of things, when they lost their weight, they seemed to have a lot more stretch marks, even if they only gained like 20 pounds. I literally was up into the 250s practice. I was 247, 250. And then I'm like 195, 200 now. A lot of them were like, got up to 220, let's say, or 210. And I was constantly putting cream on my body. I'm not sure if that's right or wrong, but it definitely helped me with that as well. So I just thought I would do a podcast on this. I really want to help men regarding a lot of things. I talk about this in my Mastering Self-Confidence program a lot more in depth on hygiene. Maybe not as specific with skin on it, but I do talk about that. And I'm going to wrap it up with this, because I had a question on my Facebook, book group today, and I kind of mentioned it. Somebody getting ready to shave their head, or they're losing their hair, and they're most likely going to be cutting their hair a lot shorter or shaving it. What to kind of do to a certain degree, and I think people don't realize how important your skin tone is in general, because a lot of people get very pale, and a lot of times, especially if they're shaving their head or their face, and to me it's just too much whiteness. If you just put a little color on your face and your body, it's a game changer. You can, a lot of times when you're real pale or white, a lot of colors just really don't look that good on you, especially like blacks a lot of times. And then when you were white, you really look flushed out. If you're throwing maybe even yellow on, certain colors, just purples and things, you just look like you're glowing in the dark. But if you get some, color on your face, not overdo it. Now, I'm not saying you have to run and get a spray tan or, again, go to tanning salon or any of that stuff. But just getting a little color to your face and your body will go such a long way. And you can do it really affordably with a lot of creams. Back to Jergens. I use that as a full body cream. It's like $10. And just putting it on in small increments. I actually did a video on that. And it's one of my most downloaded videos if you want to check it out on YouTube. It's how to just put my name, and I think I put self-tanning cream or how to self-tan. And it's the opposite of probably what you're used to. You're used to people either over-tanning or putting a lot of cream on and that. No, it's taking a long period of time to just kind of build up a little soft kind of tan is what I call more natural. So if you want, check that out. But really, take care of your skin and pay attention to your skin tone. Especially if you're somebody, too, who's in the sun a lot. Say you are, I don't care if it's summer or whatever, no matter where you're at. But your face a lot of times may get really tan because you're outside. And then you're wearing a shirt and then you look pale, Or you're wearing pants a lot, maybe a golf shirt or whatever. And your arms are tan, your face is tan. And then, again, your back and your chest are very pale. After a certain amount of years or even decades, you really don't realize even though you think you're covered up, you're damaging, those certain areas. It could be your arms again, your forehead, your nose, your neck, face. So anyways, I don't have to get into this anymore, but if you want to know more about my program, it's just masteringselfconfidence.com. Holy shit, I talked 14 minutes about this. I thought it was 5 minutes. Wow. Anyways, you got any questions or comments, hit me up. I love helping men, or in this case, women as well. But I'll tell you, most women I know really try to take care of their skin the best to their ability, at least the ones I know. I'm sure there's a lot out there that don't give a shit either. But if you are definitely and here's the thing, I don't care if you're in a warm climate or a cold climate, because my skin would get just as beat up in a warm climate then, especially when I was in cold places, especially like Canada, with windburn. And a lot of times, too, you underestimate, like, if you're in a cold climate, but a lot of times the sun is still out. That sun is still beating your ass up, right? You don't think it is necessarily because it's cold out. But if it's clear skies and the sun's out, I think you know exactly what I mean. In Chicago, it's more like gray skies. You don't have to worry about it as much. But like the East Coast, you have a lot of clear, skies with the sun coming down even though it's cold. But, just pay attention to that as well. All right? All right. Want to know anything else? Just go to richtalenza.com. Take care, and I wish everyone the best.